I can't remember the last time I had this much fun running my trains. This was fun, challenging, engaging, satisfying, and I'm pretty sure I could add so many more cool things. Today I'm showing you how I do my game-style model railroad operation session, and it turned out way better than I thought it would.
This video is brought to you with support from my patrons on Patreon. These videos would not be possible without them, and if you'd like to join the Patreon community, you can follow the link in the description below and join for as little as $1 a month.
First of all, if you have not watched my previous video on the rules of this game style op and you want to know what the rules are, pause this video, click this link right up here, and go watch it right now and come back. Okay, let's get to it. Before we begin, several of you pointed out one big flaw in my operation scheme, and that is a pair of dice has only 11 possible numbers versus the 12 numbers that I need. So I bought some 12-sided dice that even out the odds of rolling a number and let me roll all 12 numbers. Now that that issue was resolved, we can hop into setup.
The first part of setup is putting out the 45 different pieces of rolling stock that are needed to operate this particular model railroad session. And I'll also need to set out all of the locomotives necessary to their start positions. You won't see all of these locomotives in there, but they are necessary for all of the chance cards. Next, I randomize my Google Sheets switch list and print out a copy to go by. There are two main areas of focus on my model railroad. That is the town of West Valley with two industries that you see here, and also what I call the East Valley Industrial Park, which has three different industries with it that actually can hold quite a few cars for the size of this model railroad. I begin the process of setting out all of the cars to all of their different start points. If they start off the layout, I will just kind of put them in a row and then sit them aside until they're ready to come on the layout. Next up, it's time to roll our die to figure out what our chance number is going to be, which for this session is going to be 5. So whenever a 5 is rolled, you got to pull a chance card. Next roll is to see if the maintenance of way train starts. I didn't get the chance number, so no maintenance of way train. The yard switcher number 7138 heads out to do the initial classification of the yard. Once everything is done, it's time for another roll of the die to see if we get a chance card. Not this time. Train number 1 is inbound to the yard. Inbound train number 1 pulls into the running track. The locomotive then detaches, and 7138 heads out to sort the cars that have just come in. These are where these cars need to go. No chance card on this roll either, so 8345 can power up and take his train to West Valley. First things first, it needs to pick up its train to take over to West Valley. Now, because of the orientation, the train actually needs to do a runaround, and it will be pulling the train in reverse. Now, once I got up to West Valley, I realized that I had brought a car that was not supposed to be up here, this gray car, so it will have to go back with me. No chance card on this one either. First, I temporarily spot the boxcar for lumber out of the way so that I can do my moves at the cement plant. Then I proceed to switch out the cement plant, which was made a little tricky by that one car that I brought along that I wasn't supposed to, but it was still pretty easy. Next, I switched out the lumberyard. I then hooked up with the rest of my returns and headed back to the yard. This time though, I rolled the chance number, which means that I had to draw a chance card.
Now my patrons came up with all of the scenarios with the chance cards, so if you want to be part of that, because I'm probably going to be doing another round of these scenarios, you can check out my Patreon in the link in the description below. This one is coffee break with a 5-minute delay.
This particular chance card would not be enforced until I completed this move, so I was free to go ahead and head back to the yard with my returns from West Valley. Once the train was returned, I was able to park it so that the cars could be sorted, and then I uncoupled the power and set it off for its 5-minute delay for that coffee break. The yard switcher was the next move, so I went ahead and rolled, didn't get the chance number, which means that the yard switcher could come out and start sorting the return train. By the time I was done with this, the 5-minute timer had run out, and number 8345 was back in action. However, since another train was inbound, I went ahead and parked this locomotive and waited for the train, which was the next move. So I went ahead and rolled, no chance number there. Train number 2 inbound was cleared to come into the yard. Inbound train number 2 is larger and has more destinations for its cars than inbound train number 1, so I needed to get switching right away. I did have 8345 pop out and grab one boxcar that's going with it to East Valley so that it would be out of the way and ready to be put on the train. Then number 7138 hopped out as the yard switcher and sorted the entire train. Once this move was complete, outbound train number 1 was actually complete, so I could go ahead and send it on its way. Time for the next turn, which means another roll. And I got the chance number again, so that means drawing another card.
Tree down on the line. Section of line will be closed for 5 minutes. Roll the die to figure out which section of track will be closed.
This one requires another roll to determine where the location of the blockage is. So area number 8, I put a little folded index card that says blocked right there, and I start the timer. Before heading out to the East Valley Industrial Park, train number 8345 does a little bit of blocking to make its switching over there a little bit easier. Once that is done, the train heads out for East Valley. The East Valley Industrial Park has quite a few cars to pull. All of the cars from the freight depot are coming, as well as all but one of the cars from the chemical plant are coming. We do have one drop off for the scrap facility. And no chance number on this turn. The first thing to do is the simplest. Since the chemical plant drop off and the scrap drop off are already at the front, we're going to go ahead and switch those out. I've actually temporarily spotted the chemical plant drop off, not where it's going to go permanently, because I need to get the 2 box cars for the freight house out of the way so that I can pull the 5 cars from the freight house out of there, which is a bit of a tricky move. Now it's time to switch out the freight depot. Now, I designed it this way just to make switching a little bit more challenging. It can only take 2 cars at a time to maneuver out of the freight depot's siding, so it takes a little bit of work. I don't think that this is very realistic, but it certainly makes switching more fun and challenging. Once that is complete, I'm able to take the 2 freight house drop-offs and maneuver them into position. And since there's only 2 of them, it only takes 1 move. Lastly, it's time to switch out the chemical plant, and this one is pretty straightforward. No chance car on the return trip. The East Valley local pulls into the yard with its cars ready to be sorted. No chance card this time. The yard switcher goes to work. Outbound train number 2 backs up and couples with its pickups from the East Valley local and is able to head off. One last roll. No chance number. There were a couple of pickups from the previous locals that needed to go somewhere else on the layout, so I'm going to go ahead and haul those up to their destination. Three cars from the freight depot went to the lumber yard. And one car from inbound train number 2 needed to go to the cement plant. And finally, 8345 could head home for the day. Once 8345 had parked, our yard switcher could park for the day as well. And the operation is complete.
I spent months thinking about possible ways to run my railroad. Now, this is a full-blown op session, and I will most likely not do these too often. This video alone has over 2 hours of raw footage, and that doesn't include moving the camera and a decent amount of off-camera train movement. So in the future, I will be designing some short and quick operations that you can do if you have a spare 15 or 30 minutes to kill and want to run some trains. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.